Fast forward, you come our channel, so I say AGH Politics 360 podcast or training because make headlines. And your Jim Rena, EDB Exum, our say, Nidima, Onia Yanku Simu. Now, Yaku Sima, a year Attorney General, and I'm no cassa waiting a charge a year Gifty Oware Mensa, any Osei MP Assibey over their alleged rules in willing-free causing financial loss to the tune of 38 million Ghana cedi and 500 million Ghana cedi respectively at the NSX. Onuya enyaksem koto akra. Na me no ka say abeja for attraction semu omobo yinchimu. Me sure saying rem na yehu de ko ene de ba.
Sports and entertainment coming up over the next 1 hour. Stay with us.
Right, we're starting from the courts because a lot has happened in the last 12 hours and counting. So former executive director of the National Service Authority, together with his deputy, Gifty Oware, are facing multiple charges, including stealing, causing financial loss to the state, and using public office for profit for allegedly orchestrating a 38.4 million Ghana cedi fraud involving ghost names and fake hire purchase loans through the National Service Authority's marketplace platform. The charge sheet filed by the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, on Monday, the 13th of October, also lists 14 counts of offences, including stealing, causing financial loss to the state, and money laundering against the former executive director, Osei Assibey entry. Per the charge sheet, the former NSA boss allegedly authorized payments to the tune of 60,000 non-existent national service personnel and misappropriating public funds during his tenure between August 2021 and February 2025. And in a moment, we'll take you through the specific charges that have been leveled against these two individuals. And on your screens you see the charges. So for the executive director, he has been charged 14 counts, and it says count 1 is causing financial loss to the Republic, contrary to section 179A1 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. Count 2, stealing, contrary to section 1241 of the Criminal Offences Act. Count 3 is stealing, contrary to section 124 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960. Count 4 is stealing, contrary to section 1241 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960. Count 5 is also a count of stealing. And again, it goes on to the other charges that have been leveled against him. Count 6 is also stealing, contrary to section 1241 of the Criminal Offences Act. Count 7 is also stealing. Count 8 is causing financial loss to the Republic, contrary to section 1791A of the Criminal Offences Act. Count 9, money laundering, contrary to section 12C of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2020. Count 10, causing financial loss to the Republic, contrary to section 179A1 of the Criminal Offences Act. 11, causing financial loss to the Republic, and then count 12 would also then be causing financial loss to the Republic. 12 and 13 and 14 charges that he's been slapped with are largely just causing financial loss and stealing and money laundering. So we also know that the Gifty Oware is also in question as one of the persons who have been involved in the National Service Secretariat ghost name scandal, or the scandal that rocked the Secretariat. So in a jiffy, we'll take you through the charges that she has also been slapped with, and you'll see it on your screens in a moment. She is also being charged with the first count of stealing, contrary to section 1241. Count 2, same thing. Actually, count 2 is willfully causing financial loss to the Republic, contrary to section 179A. And count 3, willfully causing financial loss to the Republic. Count 4, using public office for profit, contrary to section 179. Count 5, money laundering, contrary to section 12A1 of the Money Laundering Act, and then the Anti-Money Laundering Act. And it tells you that the 3 key charges brought against them: money laundering, stealing, and causing financial loss to the state. So that's what came out in court today, and that's the details of what we have for you at the moment.
Also, lawyers for Professor Christopher Ameyaw-Kumfi, the former board chair of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund GIF, have withdrawn their services. This was disclosed by Justice Kokuvi Tay, presiding judge in the SkyTrain trial. Professor Ameyaw-Kumfi and the former CEO of GIF, Solomon Asamoah, are facing multiple charges, including causing financial loss to the states for their roles in the botched Accra SkyTrain project.
When the case was called on Monday, October 13, Professor Ameyaw-Kumfi notified the court that his lawyer would not be present. After being prodded by the judge, he indicated that there had been a misunderstanding between him and his counsel, a matter which he added that he was hopeful would be resolved soon. But Justice Audrey Kokuvite indicated that the court had received a letter from the lawyers stating withdrawal of their services. The case was adjourned to Monday, October 20, after Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Remsai indicated that the defense lawyers had filed an application which needed to be moved. At the last adjourned date, the defense lawyers moved a motion which would compel the prosecution to disclose documents they argued contained minutes of board and committee meetings, exculpatory material necessary to challenge the prosecution's claim that the investment lacked the required authorization.
That application was dismissed by the courts. They have since filed an appeal and continued to file an application to stay proceedings pending that appeal. The case is back in court on Monday, October 20, Lord Asari. TT News, Accra.
Right, let's go to Parliament now. The Speaker of the House, Alban Bagbin, has disclosed that he knows the Member of Parliament who voted to elect him as Speaker of the 8th Parliament. He has dismissed claims that former Domi Kwabenya Member of Parliament, Sarah Adjosafo, secretly voted in his favor, stating that those allegations are false. Christian Yali reports.
The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin's office, was busy on Monday when he received different delegations for different conversations throughout the day. The first was the family of the late Apostle Dr. Kwadwo Kantanka, led by his daughter, the former MP for Dom Kwabenya, Sarah Adjosafo, who came to formally inform the Speaker about the passing and funeral arrangement for the late Ghanaian icon. During the engagement, the Speaker revisited a controversy and stated that it is never true on any day that Adjosafo voted him to become the Speaker of the 8th Parliament.
I call her my daughter because the time I used to come there, she was a small girl. So I started calling her my daughter before she joined politics and came to join me in Parliament. And she remained my daughter. But we belong to different political traditions. So because she's my daughter and we love each other, even when I was contesting to be Speaker, they thought she voted for me. I want to assure all of you that she didn't vote for me.
This led to a series of controversies in which even members of the New Patriotic Party described Adjosafo as a traitor for voting secretly in favor of NDC's Alban Bagbin.
That was a false accusation, and she suffered the consequences. She voted for the position of her party, not for me. I'm using this opportunity to dispel that decision because it's still hanging around, and people are still using it against her. Because I know those who voted for me. I've been in this system for long, and I know the business of politics.
The family then went ahead to formally communicate to the Speaker about the passing of their beloved.
You were part of his family. You were his brother. And you even knew him before I entered Parliament. And so it's only proper that as a family we come and inform you. That's why we're here. And as you said, we're here to take directions, we're here to take instructions, we're here to take advice from you as the father that he left behind for us, so that we can all together plan a befitting burial and funeral for your brother.
Later in the day, a different delegation led by the MP for Gomoa Central, Kwame Asario, being A+, and other dignitaries from the Gomoa Ejumako traditional area paid a courtesy call on the speaker to formally invite him to the launch of the Gomoa Industrial Park. Parliament is expected to resume on Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. Already, expectations are high for the presentation of the 2026 budget by the Minister for Finance, Christian Yale. TV3 News, Parliament.
And our President John Dramani Mahama has called on countries that share common values and interests to unite in the face of global trade challenges. His comments come after Ghana was hit with a 15% tariff on its export to the United States following a new trade order. In a bilateral meeting with Premier of the State Council of China, Li Qian, during his state visit to the People's Republic of China, President Mahama reiterated his concerns about the U.S. trade policies.
The world is changing rapidly after the Second World War. We all agreed that we would adopt a multilateral world order. Unfortunately, some countries have decided to act unilaterally, both in terms of their relationship with other countries, but also in terms of destroying the rules-based world trade order that we all had agreed to. And so countries are slapping tariffs unilaterally on other countries. My own country, Ghana, has not been spared. We've been slapped with 15% tariffs, but I'm sure that is far less than China has been slapped with. And so it's creating a lot of confusion and unpredictability in the whole world. But this is a time that countries that have shared values must stand together. And Ghana and China have had shared values. We have voted in international organizations on the same side. And so as the world becomes more unpredictable, there's a time that countries like Ghana and China and other willing partners that believe in multilateralism should stand even closer together. And we appreciate the work that China is doing in that regard. Let me congratulate China and to thank you for the support you continue to give to Africa through FOCAC and the Belt and Drive Initiative. These programs are opening up infrastructure that facilitate trade, especially Africa has adopted the African Continental Free Trade Area. And so it becomes important that we put in the infrastructure, the railways, the ports, the roads, to be able to exchange goods between African countries. And China has been one of the countries that has assisted in this regard.
Right, so from China, let's come back home to Ghana to some very unfortunate news that happened over the weekend. The Ghana Maritime Authority says that it will continue to intensify education on the Volta Lake to ensure passenger safety. This follows the death of 15 people in a boat accident near Ketekrachi in the Oti region. Deputy Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Mubarak Masaoud, tells TV3 that the authority will make its findings public after investigations are concluded.
The boat accident occurred around 1:30 p.m. on Saturday, October 11, near Ketekrachi in the Oti region. According to the Ghana Maritime Authority, preliminary investigations suggest the boat was overloaded, far exceeding its safe operational capacity. This is not the first time boat disasters have occurred on the Volta Lake, claiming lives. For Oti Regional Minister John Kwadwo Japong, the concern has to do with the refusal of some passengers to wear life jackets while traveling on the Volta Lake.
There shouldn't be more than 10 on the boat. It carried over 24 people. None of them were allowed putting on a life jacket. A lot of life jackets are provided, but never do you see them use it. But the situation is that it is not like when you talk about the lake, people are maybe in the towns and then they go somewhere, do their fishing and then come back. No. Because of the intervention of the Akroma Dam, there have been a lot of islands that have been created by the Volta Lake.
Deputy Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Mubarak Masawudu, insists enforcement of safety protocols will be intensified.
We would want to plead to the general public to all be custodians of safety on our inland waterways, political authority, our elders, and everyone should ensure that all these safety measures and protocols are observed.
On concerns about ensuring safety on islands on the Volta Lake, Mubarak Masawudu explained the authorities' inability to monitor activities on some of those islands.
Ghana Maritime Authority is present in almost every major landing site. You will find us. Now, when it comes to the very numerous island communities, you would agree with me that practically, really, you cannot put Ghana Maritime Authority staff in almost every community, especially the island communities, to be ensuring this. That is why it is very important that the public make our work easy for us. We are increasingly taking more people there to augment already the staff that we have. But really, what would really help all of us in this situation is the public adhering to the safety measures and protocols.
A specialized team, including maritime safety inspectors and personnel from the Navy Task Force in Dambai, has been dispatched to the scene. The GMA says it has launched a widespread enforcement campaign across Volta Lake to ensure compliance with safety protocols.
Right. Between 2023 and 2025, there have been about 6 boat incidents that have claimed dozens of lives, over 50 lives. Let's bring you the numbers so you see how serious this is. In March 2023, on the 27th to be precise, on the Oware River, canoe carrying 11 people capsized, 8 drowned and 3 survived. In May that year, on the Lake Volta, passenger boats struck a tree stump and capsized. 18 people were confirmed dead, while others are still missing. On September 14, 2023, on the Ada estuary, a related capsizing event in Ada claimed several people were reported missing there. The next day, on the Ada estuary again, but this time in the Greater Accra region, 2 fishing boats overturned near Adafua, where 7 fishermen were reported missing. And then in June 2024, on the Oti River near the Dambai area, a service boat capsized on the river. Between 3 to 11 people were reported drowned and several rescued. They were lucky. And then the very current one on the Lake Volta, in Ketekrachi in the Oti region, a passenger boat capsized between Akroma and Bovime, where 15 people were reported dead, including 11 children. Overloading and collision with submerged debris was the reason for that incident. And as you heard earlier, there is an investigation still ongoing to bring us more details on that unfortunate incident.
Let's go on to some other stories. Now, the pledge to construct a bridge over the Afram River between Adoso and Echi Amanfrom in the eastern region remains unfulfilled years after it was proposed. Stanley Niblewu reports that as the delay drags on, livelihoods are being disrupted and lives endangered by a risky canoe voyage.
It's mid-morning at the Adoso ferry station. Commuters have gathered anxiously by the river bank, waiting for the ferry that connects the eastern region's Adoso to Echi Amanfrom in the Afram Plains South District. For decades, this ferry has been the only means of transport across the river Afram, a lifeline linking one of Ghana's most productive agricultural zones to markets in southern Ghana. But this lifeline has become a daily ordeal. When the ferry breaks down or delays, passengers are stranded for hours, sometimes days. That is the situation the Newz team met during our trip to Donko Chrome. Passengers who have waited for close to 3 hours heaved a sigh of relief when the ferry finally arrived. Beyond the inconvenience, the absence of a bridge over the river Afram is slowing down the economic pulse of an entire region. The Afram Plains is one of Ghana's vital food baskets, supplying fish, maize, vegetables and other produce to urban markets across the country. However, transportation delays mean food items rot before reaching their destinations, depriving farmers of income and affecting market supplies in the south.
Our road is not good. It's very dusty. We have potholes, and when it rains, it's very difficult for the riders to move on the road, and it normally causes accidents.
The bad road she refers to is the Echiamon from Tiasi Donko Chrome stretch, a critical transport corridor, now in a deplorable condition. The pothole-ridden route has become a nightmare for commuters, extending travel times and exposing travelers to robbery attacks. President John Dramani Mahama, during the 2024 campaign, reiterated his pledge to construct a bridge over the Afram River, a promise first made by his predecessor, but never fulfilled. Residents say they are hopeful but cautious, having heard similar assurances in the past.
Commuters say the promise to construct a bridge over the Afram River is a necessity that must be redeemed.
District Chief Executive for Kwewu Afram Plains South, Moses Tangwe, however, says government is aware of the
we and some of the team course watch and so Mamma so yemre or had a senator body, the Adumbi Edumiania. Unia, the best shame, Yasuma Consul.